Thank you, Dr. Holly, for such a stirring introduction. And thank you, all of you, for attending this first gathering on the state of Black Long Beach. As you can see, what happens is that we really have a decrease. If you look at this slide, you can see that the numbers, actual numbers, and the percentage change shows that really Black people suffered 10% loss in population. Whites, more than 11% loss in population. The only increase in population was among Latinos and among Asians. And so what is happening is that we're, in a sense, back at a point where we were in 1990. 1980, we represented about, 11% of the population. Then we moved up to 13, to a high of 14, and somewhere in the mid 2000, we thought we were at 15%. And now we're back at 13%.
Last February, an all-day forum was organized by the African American Convening Committee to discuss the state of Black Long Beach. Our two guests were part of that discussion. Charles Brown serves as the convener of the African American Convening Committee, and Darick Simpson is the executive director of the Long Beach Community Action Partnership. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
What is the mission of the African American Convening Committee?
Primarily, it's organized to work towards culturally relevant and responsive policies and initiatives that address critical issues within the Afro-American community of Long Beach. We're trying not to be just another program focused on carrying out a particular project or service, but to focus in on bringing together resources to address the overall issues, establish foundations for activity, and organize where necessary to get things done.
Okay. Can each of you talk about one major issue facing the African American community in Long Beach? And let's start with Darick.
Well, the convening committee last year, when we had the State of Black Long Beach, there were 6 initiatives, basically. But one could be the issue of education. And in fact, Dr. Alex Norman and others just had a Santa Fe corridor event where they talked about the disparity between education achievement on the west side of Long Beach and on the east side of Long Beach. So clearly what's good for any part of Long Beach is good for the city at whole. And education would be one of those initiatives that comes to mind initially, especially for an agency like ours where we're talking about helping families in poverty. And one of the keys to getting out of poverty is a quality education. So I would say that one is one that comes to mind for sure.
Okay, so the Santa Fe corridor event was a result of
not directly, but just to give it as an example.
Okay.
You know, so I don't want to make those two. Although Dr. Alex Norman was a principal in both of those initiatives,
okay,
and much of what he brought to the table in the state of Black Long Beach in terms of demographics and statistics were, elements of what they put together for the Santa Fe corridor. So in that regard, there was some indirect connectivity. But just to say, as an example, one of the 6 initiatives would be education for sure.
Okay. Would you provide us with another?
Right. My example would be housing. Our Community Development Committee has been working really for the last 6 months in coming up with a policy initiative that is in support of a collaboration of groups in Long Beach that are looking to include statements, language in the Long Beach housing element that address low-income housing, that deal with tenant property owner relationships, making sure that people have a way to go and to respond to substandard conditions in housing. But with 73% of African Americans in Long Beach renting, we also want to look at how we create more opportunities for low-income housing or moderate-income housing. And we're looking internally as well as to governmental agencies to address that.
Okay, so while there are some obvious challenges with the African American community in Long Beach, can you talk about some of the successes? I'll give you each a chance to talk about some of the good news. What's working?
Well, I would say what was good news from the standpoint of coming together to be unified as a community
Right.
was the state of Black Long Beach. I mean, as the agency that was sort of at the beginning of helping to bring things together, working with this committee, when we were planning, we were looking at maybe 70 people as success. It ended up being over 200 people there from all walks of life in the African American community, and everyone was engaged. So I think one success story starts right there with the fact that we made history by having Dr. Norman and Dr. Holly create such a report, and then having our community come together to support the unveiling of that report and talking about what we can do as next steps. And those next steps are going to make other history.
Exactly. As an outgrowth of that, there are a number of initiatives that have been raised by the 6 committees that were formed based upon what came out of the State of Black Long Beach. And they're looking at the list of things that people were most concerned about and coming up with policy initiatives, looking at ways in which they can be addressed, not just programmatically, but how do we assess the talents that are out there that exist within those communities to handle those issues themselves. So it's a lot of good energy out there now.
Sounds like it. Where does the committee go from here? You have another forum planned for next year?
We're looking to have another State of Black Long Beach next year. As of now, we're planning towards a February timeframe. And if everything works the way we're planning it, it should bring about hopefully at least twice as many individuals. It's going to be open to the public. I'm saying now the first week in February, that could change. But we're going to take those initiatives that were raised last year and show what work has been done on it, and actually look to see who wants to get involved with addressing those issues, again, from an inside-out standpoint. What can we do internally first before we start looking towards other institutions to make it happen for us?
How can someone get involved in the African American Convening Committee? What do they need to do? Who do they need to contact?
We have monthly meetings. They are the, rather than me give you false information or bad information, let me give you a site that you can go to, and our facilitator will make sure that whoever is interested gets information about our meetings, how they can become involved with our committees, and how they can also raise issues that are addressed by the AACC.
Okay, so they don't have to wait until next year for
No.
the next. They can. You said you have monthly meetings.
Right.
Okay, so
And
they
we'll
just-
get you the dates and the time frames and the location.
Okay, well, thank you both for being
Sure.
here today and sharing this very important information with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.